Afternoon, everyone. Welcome in today. It's been a minute since I've been on. I've been trying to sort some things out, get some things together, and I'm finally opening up the path to, get some things started. Let me start off by saying when I put out my introduction of the publishing of my YouTube channel, Bold and Beautiful Conversations, I want to thank those that clicked on the link and subscribed to my channel. The channel is still under construction. However, it's still there for you to go and subscribe. I will attach the link in the comment section at the end of this live video so that you can go over and subscribe. Giving myself a couple more months maybe, and it should be fully up and running. But until then, you can subscribe to the channel. There are a couple videos there, just some to just get some things started so you can hear like my tone, hear what I'm discussing, and just see if it's something that you will continue to be interested in. So again, I will attach the link in the comment section at the end of this live. So what I want to talk about today is the power of choice and how what we choose to do determines several things about us. It also says a lot of things about us, depending on the choices we make in certain situations. I kind of think about when I'm growing up or when I was growing up, and how things were in the household, and how my oldest sister was always the one that we were supposed to look up to because, of course, she was the oldest. And back then, parents used to say, your oldest sibling, that's who you look up to, who you listen to. However, we had another agenda. Myself, my younger brother and sister, we chose our own path and we decided to do our own thing, which in turn later on made my older sister feel like she was responsible for the decisions that we made. So we had to let her know that you had absolutely nothing to do with the decisions that we made. We chose these things on our own. And that's why this topic is so important, because we choose things and then sometimes we blame others for the things that we chose to do. So, as we continue to talk about this, think about some of the choices that you have made. Have they been because it's something that you really wanted to do? Or did you choose this because that's what I was taught to do? Or that's what I was told to do? Or that's what I see all the time? I remember like in our family, we didn't have a lot of open conversations about relationships. We didn't have open conversations about dating, about sex, about college, about working. I really don't remember what we had open conversations about. So I decided at that moment that when I got older and I had children, that I wanted to make sure that my child or children and myself have that open line of communication, and we talk about things. Remember, I said I chose. That's what I chose to do. I didn't want to keep it the way we were raised. I didn't want to keep things hidden. I didn't want to keep things sheltered. I didn't want my daughter to learn things from her friends or even learn things from her friends' parents, because I am the parent and I want to teach you and I want to show you this way. And I want to make sure that you understand how it's supposed to go. Respecting yourself as a young lady, being a young lady at all times, showing others how to respect you, showing others how to treat you, how to treat yourself. Sometimes we make a choice to do those type of things. When we look at jobs, we make a choice in what we decide to do. My father, 30 plus years at the telephone company, decided that it's time for me to go. It's time for me to retire. So I was close to him. We're close. And the older I got, I didn't want to be in the telephone business. I was like, telephone, I don't want to do that. So I chose a different path. Now, if I did choose any part of him, I chose to stay at a job a particular length of time. Now, I am 22 years in education, holding strong by thin thread, but I'm still holding. But that's a choice that I made. When I think about relationships, whether it's personal, whether it's professional, whether it's a friendship, whatever the case may be, I make a choice of who I choose inside. I may not want to choose a particular person because you chose that particular person. I have a choice to do that. And do you realize that some people get upset when you decide to choose what it is that you want? When you decide to choose what makes you a better person, when you decide to choose what makes you happy, people get upset with that because you're not choosing what I'm choosing. You're not befriending who I'm befriending. You're not going where I'm going. You're not working where I'm working. But that's because I have a choice. And having a choice and understanding your choice and understand how your choices can either hurt or help you, that's a powerful, powerful thing. Choice is a powerful thing. And I preach this a lot even to my students. When you do certain things and when the outcome takes place, and then you come to me and you're like, well, miss, they did this and they said this because I chose. Because you what? Because you chose to do that. You can't get upset behind the consequences when you choose something that's going to hinder you or that's going to help you. You can't get upset. You chose that particular thing. You chose that. It's almost like choosing to purchase a vehicle when you know all of the ins and outs and the amount it's going to take for maintenance and how you have to wait for parts because the car may be foreign or you can't find everyone to fix it. You want that headache. You chose that headache. And knowing this and still choosing it and then getting upset when the outcomes aren't at their best, that's something that you must deal with. You chose that. Choice is a powerful, powerful thing. And we choose and make decisions every day. Sometimes we choose and make decisions without thinking. We make hasty decisions. Sometimes we think too long and still make the wrong decision. But you know what I learned? I learned that a lot of the things that we choose to do are based on what other people say about those things. We allow other people to make these decisions for us. But you can't make a decision for me if the event or the situation is not happening to you. People are quick to say, well, if it was me, I would. But it's not you. But I do understand. If it was me, I would quit. If it was me, I would go and tell her off. If it was me, I'd snap back, clap back, whatever. But you have to think about, is that you though? Are you a clap backer? Are you a snapbacker? Are you that kind of person? Because if you find yourself choosing what other people choose, the outcome may not be the same for you like it is for them. Sometimes we want to make sure that we don't lose particular people. We want to make sure that certain people stay in our lives and that we stay connected to certain people. But should we do it at any cost? No. Because at the end of the day, you have to look at you. You have to deal with you. You have to think about you. And the hardest thing about this is when you're making choices and making decisions based off or dealing with people that you have history with. That's what makes it difficult. When you have to make choices about certain things involving certain people that you have history with. See, it's that history. It's that history. It's those things that you all went through. It's those things how you were there for each other. You want to talk about ride or die, have your back. People have history. And that is what makes it difficult. It's difficult for someone to choose a better something solely for themselves, individually for themselves, when you are so connected and so tied in with the history that's making you make the choice. That's where it becomes a little bit sticky. That's where it becomes a little bit frightening, because I want to hold on to the people that have been with me for years. But I realize that our interactions aren't the same. I realize that their intent for me or my intent for them is not the same anymore. I realize that. And I have to make this choice to let them go. Or I have to make this choice to even open up and have a conversation with them to see if we can do anything to fix it, to rectify it. And then even after that, though, sometimes we're still making choices even after that, even after we've talked, even after it seemed like we have squashed it. We don't want to burn any bridges. We don't want to lose the friendship that we built. But do you know that even after all of that, you still have to make a choice? It's still a choice that you have to make to continue to build, to continue to refurbish this relationship. It's a choice. I'm not going to have this long conversation with you about a particular situation. Remember, because we have history, I want to have this conversation with you. We're going to have this conversation. However, when we're done, it's going to take both parties, or how many ever is involved in the party, to keep this choice of connecting going. Choice is a powerful thing. It can either hurt you or it can help you. And I'm about making choices that's going to help me. I can hurt myself on my own. Don't need help in that department. I need choices that are going to help me. And sometimes the choice that we have to make when it comes to letting people go, that's a hard thing. That's a very hard thing. But when it comes to having to let people go, that choice is going to do both things. It's going to hurt you in the beginning. But once you realize the way you're no longer feeling, the way you're no longer affected, then that choice can now help you. It can help you move on. It can help you see that you are better than the situation. And I'm not saying no one is better than no one person. We're not going that route. I'm not playing that game. I'm not playing that game. I would say that the only thing that makes us a little bit more on top is the choices that we make. When we decide to let people go, when we decide to move on, when we decide to change that job, when we decide to rearrange our routines, rearrange our schedules that are going to be more helpful for us. The power of choice. It's amazing once you really sit down and you realize what's hindering me, what's making me behave this way. What is it? And once we're able to sit, and it's not an overnight process. It's not a few days process. It's not a week process. It's not a months process. It takes time to realize the choices that we made. They're hurting us. Some of the choices that we make are hurting us because we're so connected and we're so invested. But at the end of the day, you have to remember you are who you have to be with. You are who you have to spend this time with. Once you make that choice, you're the person that you have to be with through this choice, in this choice, after this choice. It's you. But I guarantee you that you're going to meet people along the way that have either experienced what you've experienced, going through it right now, or getting ready to. And you can help be that voice of reason. You can help them say, remember, choices do two things. They either hurt you or they help you. And in a lot of instances, they can do both. They're going to hurt you first, and then it's going to help you, because you're going to realize that whatever that decision is that you had to make was something that you have to make for the betterment of you, for the growth of you, for the strength of you, for the prosperity of you. The things we choose to do, the people who we choose to allow in our space, we have to practice making conscious decisions about who we're letting in. And sometimes it's obvious to tell who's here to hurt and who's here to help. But then too, it's a lot of camouflage people out there. It's a lot of pretty packages, a lot of pretty writing, a lot of pretty rapping. But then when you open it up, there's the shit that hurts. But what we have to try to do, pick ourselves up. You can only roll around in it for maybe a day or two. But after a while, we have to pick ourselves up. Do not allow that to make us lose who we are. Because you know what? People are set out to do what they're supposed to do. The people who are hurting us, the people who are causing us to make these sort of decisions that are hurting us, they're doing their job. They're doing what they're supposed to do. That's what they're supposed to do. But it is up to us. It is up to us to choose how we want this thing to end. This is our race that we're running. And when you have people trying to run your race with you, and they don't have your best interests at heart, at that moment you can make a choice to leave them behind. Or you can make a choice to make a detour. I don't want to go on this path anymore. You can make that choice. You can make that choice. I'm telling you, you can make that choice. But I would also like to add this. The closest people sometimes are the ones that will help you see that your choices are not worth it. And I say the closest people because they've been with you. They know what you're experiencing. They know what you're going through. And if you speak a certain situation to them and you ask them, what should I do? Should I do this or should I do this? And when they tell you which path you should possibly take, before you immediately go on that particular path, I want you to think about if the choice that you are about to make, based on their help or based on their advice, is it going to hurt or is it going to help? Yeah. The power of choice. It's a powerful thing, y'all. It's a powerful thing. And we have to be ready when it comes that time to make that choice. The power of choice, guys. Again, I will be leaving my link to my YouTube channel, Bold and Beautiful Conversations, in the comments section of the live. Please feel free to subscribe, like, and hit the bell for any type of alerts coming from my page. Remember, it's under construction, but I'm definitely getting that baby together. And I would love to have you guys' support. Thank you so much for being live with me. And remember, you have the power of choice.